morning. It's Ginny, Tim, and Eli from DS Tech in Escanaba, Michigan. And we're going to go over, actually, the title of our thing today is Don't Be Scared, Be Prepared. So, we're expecting winter storms, right? We got to be prepared for those. And we're going to use the analogy to help you be prepared for cybersecurity attacks, stuff like that.
Like a disaster recovery for your business, basically.
Perfect. Thank you, Tim. Yep. Make sure you go to our website to sign up for your free security assessment and drop your questions as we go into the topic today, because we'd be happy to make more videos for you that answer your questions. So, what are we doing with step one?
Well, just to kind of quick overview, the idea with this is it's at the new year, right, as well. So maybe if you don't have a disaster recovery plan in place, definitely create one. And if you have one, it may be time to review what you have in place and maybe update it. Maybe some contacts have changed, different things like that. So it's just that time of year, get in the habit of reviewing that. So similar to where you're preparing for a storm when it comes, so that way you're not kind of blindsided. Same thing with your business. You can prepare for an event that may never happen, but then if it does happen, you're prepared to deal with it much smoother and more seamless. So the first little bullet point they have here is about staying informed and assessing risks. So that's similar to the weather forecasts and business risk assessments. So, you kind of check on the weather as the storm's coming in, see what it is, so you can kind of prepare for the event. Similar to that, you can have cybersecurity risk assessments where once a year you may have someone go through your business, check all the holes, do a galactic scan, see where you're at.
Sometimes I do both. I check the weather before I drive to read out the results for the security assessment.
Absolutely,
There you go.
That's full resiliency.
And the idea is then you're preparing for an attack by you do the scan, you kind of get an idea where you're at, and then you can kind of prepare for it there as well. So having that assessment can kind of see where you're at and kind of give you an idea. This one says insulate your home. So obviously that's for like a winter storm, right, where you're cold. And securing your data. So that would be like a home insulation and data backup and recovery. So, insulating your home against a storm is similar to protecting your business's data with regular backups, secure off storage solutions, because it's not just always cyber security criminals attacking you, stealing your data. It could be a physical thing. Maybe you have a warehouse that burns down or something like that, and your server's in the warehouse. So you need to make sure you have not just a backup locally, but also in the cloud. Just having redundancy to that is very important. Emergency kits for home and business. So just like you have an emergency kit at home with your essentials, your business should also have an emergency plan, including data recovery procedures, emergency contacts, and access to critical documents. Again, I can't stress having a plan in place, because during an event, usually emotions and people are stressed out and they're kind of not thinking as clearly. So having the plan in place of like, here's who we contact first, here's our second contact, and working through the steps, having that will really help direct and keep things seamless in a heightened crisis type situation.
I know who I'd talk to if we had some sort of an incident like that. But I went to a conference a few months ago, and a lot of folks at some pretty, white glove type of professional organizations did not know who they contact.
Right. If you woke up tomorrow and you got a message on your screen saying you have ransomware, blah, 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 do you know who you would call first? Like, if you don't know the answer to that, you should probably figure that out.
Don't dial the number on the screen.
Yeah, don't never call the answer on the screen, yes. Very good point. So having an alternative heating and power to business and continuity plan. So in a storm, alternative heating sources are crucial when your power is lost. Similarly, having a business continuity plan ensures your business keeps running with disruptions, like a generator for your power outage. Or if you have all your backups in the cloud, our stuff has a way where they can spin up a virtual machine, so they can take a copy of your server and spin it up virtually in the cloud. And now you could actually connect to that and work off that temporarily. If, say, your building burned down, you could run off the cloud server for a little bit if you wanted to, and then until things are getting back up in there. So having that can definitely help. This one talks about protecting water pipes and safeguarding infrastructure.
Going back to the generator, though.
Yeah.
Maybe have a backup generator too, right?
Hey,
it's always good to have backups.
You can't access the cloud if you don't have any power.
Yep. And the idea with that is you would pivot to, say you have an office where everyone's desktops in the office. You may have to get a couple of emergency laptops, issue them to the
use the old credit card machines, that you used to use.
Yep,
Paper
have to go back to
copy.
paper.
There you
Like
go.
when like when
Paper
Yes.
receipts.
yeah, I
Oh,
remember when
man.
they had the big casino in Vegas got hacked last year that they had to check in people via paper and the lines were
Yep.
crazy because
Oh
they had to give
man,
them
It takes
physical
so much
keys and
longer.
check them
had
in
people
regularly. It
who'd
was just
never
it was
done it
wild.
in their life checking people.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
So-
and it is a longer process, but yeah.
I remember nothing, it wasn't like we got hacked or anything, but at a previous job, there was one of the only people that knew how to pencil a deal without a computer was one of the owners. So it was pretty cool. It's a framed photo. So
Mhm.
you might want to have some old school type of people in your back pocket
Mhm.
that you can reach out to
Or at least
And
know
if-
how.
At least have those
Or at least
processes
know
written
how.
down just in
Right,
case
you know,
whoever may need
as
them.
a fallback. Just
Yep.
know the basics.
I was in a
'cause that
retail
can come in
store
handy
once.
when you're
They would not take my sale. I was like, I want to buy
because they
this,
wouldn't.
but their computers were down, and I'm like, really? You can't just write a receipt? I mean, I could pay cash if your credit card's down. I'm like,
Mhm.
or
That's the worst.
right? I'm like,
That's the worst.
dude. So I just
I
went somewhere
bet.
else and bought it.
I've been a teenager behind the register too.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that. Honestly, I'm
I've
sure
been that
nobody.
kid.
Yeah, I'm sure nobody knew what to do without the
Right.
computers.
And then if the manager's off that knows how to do it, it's like, well, you're dead in the water.
It's
The
like the
manager's young
coupon
too,
that
so-
only the manager and this one customer know
Interesting. Anyway, that's off topic. Keep
Nope,
going.
that's fine.
about. Yes.
Um,
Yes. Be prepared.
So where we were at was
Be scared.
protecting your water pipes and safeguarding infrastructure. So preventing pipes from freezing in a storm is like safeguarding your business's physical digital infrastructure. So my thought would be you'd having some sort of EDR, some systems, antivirus, endpoint detection, things like that, just kind of protecting your information. In this case, it's the pipes, and it's just be your data. Just having some sort of security in place to protect that.
What's EDR?
Endpoint detection and response, I think, is what it stands for.
Is it
It's
the
just it's just a
software?
new fancy term for antivirus. So
Oh,
antivirus, I'd say AV,
okay.
and it's like antivirus, but it does additional things which are required nowadays because the traditional AV just doesn't cut it because of the way things are. So
Okay.
the idea of
And an endpoint is just a PC.
yeah, because it could be your computer, it could be your phone, it could be a
Okay.
server, it could be different things. So it
Anywhere,
encompasses more.
End user or just employee is kind of logging in.
Yep, exactly. Because it might, your phone could have software on it for security as well
Okay.
as your desktop. So it's endpoint, could be on both. So then you want to have a communication plan. So for both personal and business. So just as you'd inform your family and friends of your plans during a storm, maintain clear communication channels with employees, customers, and stakeholders during the business disruption. So it's important to have some sort of central location where any updates from all the different parties involved in a disaster, whether it be the insurance, the owners, the techs that are trying to recover, the employees, all that stuff, have some sort of area and some sort of communication plan lined out. So that way, as each part of this is going through, everyone's getting updated as the progress, and no one's just having good communication is key in order to recovering swiftly. Vehicle preparation and business supply chain management. So ensuring that your car is ready for winter conditions, mirror the need to secure and adapt your business for supply chain or
Snow
potential
tires.
disruptions. So
That's right, baby. Blizzak.
yeah, get your snow tires on your vehicle, all that kind of stuff. Same thing. You may have your standard vendor and your standard things that you get parts for, but it's always good to have a backup vendor and maybe a backup of the backup vendor for when those parts are out. As we all saw that during a supply chain shortage, things it can come to a standstill. So having backups and backups of your backups and having redundancy plans out there is definitely just helpful.
Checking your backups
And then
too,
checking to
right?
make sure, yeah.
Because, like, I've heard horror stories where you think your backups are working and it's like they're backing up incorrectly, or
Yep.
you're
then they
backing up
go
a
to-
hacker or something.
Yeah, and you're not-
6 months back.
Yep, you're not checking them for a while, and then you go to recover a file from the backup and it doesn't work, and
Oh,
you're like,
it's-
uh-oh,
yeah.
when did this start? And so having regular checks for that stuff is very important too. Warm clothing and preparedness for remote work. So bundling up warm clothing during a storm is similar to equipping your team with the necessary tools and protocols for effective working remote during business interruptions. So obviously in the case of like say a building physically burned down or some sort of physical disaster, having your employees be able to work remote and still access all the files and things they need is key. Although most businesses have been able to shift to kind of a hybrid role with staff after all like the lockdowns and things, and people were kind of forced to do that a little bit. And so now, because of that, a lot of people are adapted to remote work. So if you're a business that, having that, maybe it's not all the time, but having it in their back pocket to where if it is needed, it can be handy. And then from a staff, it's handy for us, say you get, stuck at home in a winter storm, it's being handy to just be able to work
Happens
from
to
home
me a
remotely
lot.
instead of having to hurry up and emergency shovel, your driveway and maybe risk yourself on the road where you don't need to. It's safer just to work from home if you get your job done. So it can be both a positive thing for both ends of the spectrum.
It's very cool. I know I've mentioned it before, but it's very cool because all I do is plug it in the work computer and it's like I'm at work.
Yeah.
Same desktop, everything. It's just ready
Definitely,
to go.
if you're not sure,
if you're
Yeah.
if you're not sure if you're doing it correctly or not too, you definitely want to make sure you have, you typically can like a business issued laptop or device for your staff to work from home. They're not using their personal devices to do work. Usually don't want to cross that, just because if you're on your personal computer, you could be possibly visiting websites, playing games, doing whatever, getting a coupon thing for your browser to save you money. But now you start doing work stuff. And so it's always good to have a specific device for work if you are working remotely. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Stocking up on
professional things like send money to princes.
Yes. Stocking up on supplies and backup resources for business. So just again, as you stock up on candles and batteries for a storm, ensure your business has backup resources like emergency funds, alternative suppliers, or again, just a backup in general, just making sure that you have something in general in case something happens. Maybe you have all the different computers. Maybe it's good to have one extra computer on hand that could be used for a hot swap if one goes down on a staff while you're working on a new one, things like that. Just having backups in place, whether it be an actual backup of your data or physical backups of devices you can use in an emergency, can always be very handy. One more. So this one says staying indoors and employee safety during disasters. So again, prioritizing safety by staying indoors during a storm is analogous to ensuring employee safety and well-being during a business crisis, whether it's through remote working arrangements or flexible schedules. So we kind of just touched on that a little bit. During a disaster, having your staff be able to work remote is handy. Quality of life things, maybe the kids are sick with a bunch of stuff, and so rather than hurry up and trying to find an emergency babysitter, they can just work from home, things like that. If you're able to provide that for your staff, it can be a good quality of life boost. And well as just during an actual, like I said, a winter storm, the roads are nasty. Why come into the office if you don't have to and you're capable of doing your job from home? If that's the ability for your employee and staff, definitely encourage that. Just make sure you're doing it properly, securely, and safely with work issued devices and all that kind of stuff.
One thing I was thinking about regarding personnel and disaster response, I guess you could make an analogy of being the big brother at home and your parents are both at work during a snowstorm, which whatever, maybe we've been there, but in a hybrid workforce where maybe some people are in the office, some of the upper management could be, at conferences, Wisconsin, Dells, Georgia, Tampa. There's lots of places where we go for sure. And just think about who you can reach out to if you lost communication, or what your first kind of step would be to ensure that you're either getting a hold of the folks that you need to get a hold of, or who's next in the kind of hierarchy. Just things to think about, and then hey, what WWMBD, what would my boss do? So just try to think through that lens. Maybe if you have some sort of a situation like that to where you do run into the worst, where something happens and your CEOs or your C-suite is away, or gosh, maybe one of them accidentally clicked the link, so you don't want to talk to them anyway. So it's just a lot of things that you can think about when you're forming your disaster response and recovery plan. Is just the basics of who.
The biggest thing I can't stress
Just
enough
have-
is who to
Who and
contact,
what.
and then having a backup of that. Because again, like you're saying, if the main person is contact your CEO, owner, contact the insurance, contact this. So what if it's at a time where none of those are in place? So you want to have like a backup and a flow chart of like call this person. If that person's not there, have backups of that. Don't just have one point of contact for them to reach out to, because again, that person's not there. Things can be in flux, and during a situation, you do want to have alternatives and a full flow into your disaster recovery plan. And say you're on an event and your laptop gets stolen, you know what I mean? Who you gonna call first? You know what I mean? Just kind of think about those scenarios or different things like that. Just having a plan in place for different sort of events and things like that.
Awesome.
Cool. So don't be scared. Be prepared.
That's the best. Yeah, the best thing I can say. One of my Weather Channel people I watch says that all the time, but it can hold true both for the weather as well as your business.
That is so much more mature than where I was going, which was Lion King. Scar. Be prepared.
Goodness.
Find the dad.
Find the dad or the uncle.
Both.
Anyway,
Been watching Disney since forever. So.
I see that. So, maybe on one of our future episodes, we should go over, having your work office prepared.
Absolutely.
Like in some habits in place so that you're not
Scar would be happy.
sleeping or,
Yeah.
doing something. I mean, you're getting your work done.
Can we do
So-
an episode about sleeping?
Sleep is important. We did talk about that in one of them.
Yeah, I'm being able to
Productivity habits.
take a little,
Yeah.
break here and there.
Yeah.
Stretch your legs, get some fresh air if
Yeah.
possible.
Refresh your
So,
brain and-
Take care of your mind, take care of your body. But anyway, that's for a future episode.
Yes.
We'll talk about that. But if you need help with your disaster recovery plan, please reach out. dstech.net is where you can find our contact form, and you can open up tickets there, and you can get your free security assessment or your galactic scan, which is still free. Right?
Yes, as
I'll
of
tell
this-
you when it's not
as of
anymore.
2024, I still have some.
So
Heck yeah.
great.
Got to reload.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome. So make it a great day. Drop your questions, and we'll see you on the next episode.